Hi, welcome to the second lecture of week 2. For this second lecture, I'll be talking about the argumentative essay. So this argumentative essay will be very useful for your assessment 1. Now, argumentative essay. Why do you write it? What should you do when you write an argumentative essay? I'm sure you've written a lot of essays in high school. So what is argumentative essay? It requires you to investigate a topic, collect, generate, and evaluate evidence, and establish a position on the topic in a concise manner. The purpose of an argumentative essay is to defend a debatable position on a particular issue with the ultimate goal of persuading readers to accept the argument. So, it's like you arguing with your friend. Okay, so of course you want your friend to believe in you, to follow you, right? So what should you do is to persuade them with your arguments. So it's the same as argumentative essay. You want your readers to believe in you, to listen to you. So what should you do? You persuade them to accept your arguments. Although the goal is to convince readers to accept the argument, the reader's response will either be agree completely, agree with reservations, or disagree. So you cannot expect everyone to agree with you. Sometimes, yes, they might agree with you. Sometimes they're a bit reluctant, or sometimes they tend to disagree with you. Okay, so it all depends on your persuasion, your arguments. For the structure of an argumentative essay for assessment 1, right, pay attention. You need 5 paragraphs of 900 words essay. It's a plus minus of 10%. So your minimum word count should be 810 and the maximum should be 990 words. It has to consist all these 5 parts that I mentioned in the first tutorial, that is the introduction, the 3 body paragraphs, and the conclusion. So the structure of this argumentative essay, all these have been mentioned in the first video. How you should be writing your introduction, your body paragraphs, and your conclusion. Now for the introductory paragraph, why should you introduce your topic? How should you do it? Okay, your introduction should act like a good opening statement in a trial. As I mentioned, it has to be very attractive. Alright, you manage to attract your reader's attention. It sets the stage for or context for the position you are arguing for. So it's sort of like give your readers a hint of what you are going to be arguing about. Okay? A writer must present the issue at hand, give background, and put forth the main argument, all in logical, intellectual, and persuasive way. So in your paragraph, you need to know how to present your issue. You need to know what kind of background information is relevant, is suitable. Okay, and you need to know how to emphasize on your arguments. Make sure they're all in logical, intellectual, and persuasive way. So for the readers, they're most probably reading at least 40 more essays or maybe 80 more. So make your paper engaging from the start. For the general statement, what should you write? How should you do it? It's a lead-in statement of an essay and it's meant to catch the reader's attention. Okay, you have to bear in mind, it's very important that your introduction is used to keep readers' attention. Okay, the next point, an introduction in an argumentative essay should provide the reader with background information to help set up and explain the issue. However, it should be only an overview of the most important information. So make sure your introduction is not about the whole explanation. No, it should be something that you wish your reader to be prepared reading in the next few paragraphs, and make sure it's short, concise, and interesting. This background information can also provide context and history that can be crucial to explaining and arguing your point. So what you can do is, for the general statement, you provide some interesting background or the current trends as mentioned in video 1. Make sure they are interesting and of course relevant. As for the thesis statement, the sentence that states the main idea of a writing assignment and help control the ideas within the paper, that's the thesis statement. As mentioned in tutorial 1, the thesis statement is where you state your stand and also the essay outline. So that is why it consists the main idea of a writing assignment, and it also helps to control the ideas within the paper. So everything basically is controlled by the thesis statement in an argumentative essay. The thesis statement should assert a position on a particular issue, main claim, or argument, one that a reader can potentially argue against. Okay, so make sure you know your stand, right? Make sure you know your stand. Make sure you're able to explain. Okay, in a thesis statement, make sure you are able to know, you are able to explain your stand plus your arguments. You know, sometimes even you explain it properly, clearly, readers will still potentially go against your points, but it's okay. That is why your thesis statement is very important. You have to make sure your points, your stand is clear and your points are also very clear. Normally, a thesis statement appears at the end of the introduction in a short essay. If you remember in the first video, the thesis statement comes after everything else, as in the opposing statement comes first, then the thesis statement comes later. Let's look at this one. So archaic sex education programs teach abstinence as the only effective means to prevent unwanted pregnancy, but newer sex programs that teach safe sex practices have proven to be more effective and should replace outdated abstinence-only programs. Okay, so you look at the topic, you look at the argument. Now let's look at the explanation first. The topic informs the reader the overall subject of the essay. Sex education programs, specifically abstinence only versus safe sex. The argument claims a debatable viewpoint. newer programs should replace outdated programs. Now that's the writer's claim. Okay. Now let's look at this topic. I suppose this one is going to be a clearer example for you. Should internet censorship be imposed by the government? So what we have here is the whole introduction. Alright. So what we have in the first part here, this is what we call the general statement or lead-in statement. So you can see how this writer writes his general statement. It provides the history, figures, okay, and they are taken from trusted sources. Alright, so when you involve history, when you involve numbers, big numbers like this, it can be interesting sometimes, you know. Followed by the thesis statement. Let's look at the thesis statement. Relate it back to tutorial 1. Now, let's look at the one in blue. Proponents of internet censorship believe that filtering website contents by the government safeguards underage netizens' protection from inappropriate websites. However, in red, internet censorship should not be imposed by the government because internet censorship is an expensive short-term solution and is a violation of freedom of expression. So this writer's stand is that the government should not impose internet censorship. So this is the writer's stand in red. So the one in blue is the opposing stand. Okay, so if you notice, the opposing stand comes before the writer's stand. Okay, and make sure there is one main point stated here and there are two main points stated here. One that goes against the writer's stand and two to support the writer's stance. Next, body paragraph. Body paragraph is written to explain the three ideas you included in the thesis. So for this case, the three ideas would be, the first one is this one, expensive short-term solution. The second one would be the violation of freedom of expression. And the third one should be from the opposing statement. Okay, what is it? It's the safeguards underage netizens' protection from inappropriate websites. So the three main points are clearly stated in the thesis statement. So from the thesis statement, you further explain in the body paragraph. So that's why it says here, you explain the three ideas you include in the thesis. The body paragraph also provides readers with adequate details about the ideas. So your job here is to explain and explain and explain. Alright. Now for a topic sentence as mentioned in tutorial 1, the first sentence or the topic sentence tells what the rest of the paragraph is about. Okay, they show the relationship of each paragraph to the essay's thesis, announce the argument of a paragraph, and tell the reader what to expect in the paragraph that follows. To write a topic sentence, take the first idea included in the thesis and word it in a full sentence. Basically, let's go back to this one. What you should be doing is this is the main idea, and you take this, relate it to the topic, internet censorship, relate it to your stand, and create a complete sentence out of it. Yeah. For supporting details, you have to present and explain evidence that will support the topic sentence. So what you can do is you search for trusted sources and search for relatable examples or quotations or statistics, figures, numerical values, facts, or any other sources that can help you to support your argument. Alright? So for statistics and numerical values, they are most accessible and convincing. Okay, so people rely on statistics because we trust them more. You know that people don't simply come up with statistics. They have made researches. Okay, so that is why statistics is trusted more. Let's search for statistics, an example of it. Now let's look at this paragraph. Okay, firstly, imposing internet censorship on internet materials is a costly short-term solution. Remember, this was mentioned in the introduction, in the thesis statement. Okay, so this is how you develop a thesis statement. This is the topic, this is your stand, and this is the argument, right? Considering the exponential amount of website contents, blah 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 blah, so you keep reading. Okay, next, hence it will be futile for the governments to continue funding censorship, since internet censorships will have a negative effect on the company. So here this person uses numerical value, so you can see money, the amount 1.9 million Australian dollar and 44 million over the 4 years. Statistics can be interesting. When people see numbers, they are attracted. Okay, it's like when we see figures involving money, like the current case, COVID. Okay, when we see numbers, we pay attention. So using statistics and numerical values, it can help readers to pay attention to reading to your essay. Next, another way to support your argument, you can use examples. Examples is not simply examples taken from your own experience. However, examples here is taken from real recordable examples. For example, from the newspaper, okay, or examples that are from researchers, right? Examples can provide vivid description, so it enables the reader to picturize the situation. Let's look at this second body paragraph. Secondly, internet censorship has been claimed to violate the freedom of expression and opinion, as well as one's privacy. So this is the second main idea mentioned clearly in a topic sentence. Alright, so you can read the supporting detail. China, for instance, strictly imposes censorship on internet materials and has been found to be contradicting the free speech protections as stated in its law. In fact, internet users in China have been facing difficulties in accessing wide range of information, blah 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 blah. Okay, So it uses China as an example, but of course it's backed up with facts. It's not basically what this person thinks or hears, but it's basically taken from trusted resources. So you can use examples like real examples taken from newspapers, magazines, reports, or any other sources, right? Followed by the concluding sentence in purple. Another one, this is another example, which is not related to the topic earlier. This is about oil and gas industry. However, the collapse in oil price has cost the oil and gas industry thousands of jobs. Okay, so if you read this paragraph, it provides a lot of examples that is related to this part here, job loss. Okay, the collapse in oil price and the job loss in the oil and gas industry. So most of the information provided here is the example that took place, which help to explain this job loss. Alright. Body paragraph. Okay, for a concluding sentence, they are normally placed at the end of a sentence, and it is to indicate the closure of a paragraph. You can use such transitions to conclude your paragraph. Now for the counter argument, this is where you address the opposite side. Alright, for the opposite side of the stand, you go against your stand. Okay. This opposite stance also serves the purpose of the view of a person who disagrees with your stance. Not everyone agree with you, so you try to be balanced by voicing out for those who disagree with you as well. It reflects you have done thorough research on both sides and are well aware of the opposing views. Okay. The most important thing is that you're able to reflect objectivity in your tone to avoid biasness and lopsidedness. Now, counter argument. When you introduce your counter argument, you may use these connectors to indicate contrast. So always begin your counter argument paragraph using sentence connectors that indicate contrast. Why? Because you are introducing the opposing side of the argument. Okay, you are acknowledging another point of view, a different point of view. So some of the connectors that you can use are however, on the other hand, or in contrast. Okay, so let's look at this paragraph. This is the counter argument paragraph for the internet censorship topic. So let's look at the topic sentence. Some critics, however, believe that the act of filtering website contents by the government protect underage users from inappropriate materials. Okay. So if you see here, the main claim is that internet censorship should not be imposed by the government. But in this counter-argument paragraph, it is mentioned that internet censorship is good in a way that it protects underage internet users from inappropriate materials. Just one paragraph to go against the writer's stance. Yeah. So these are the supporting details using percentage. Okay. So you explain, according to the US Department of Justice, an estimated of 25% of children have been exposed to unwanted pornographic materials online. This proves that if internet censorship is not imposed on internet materials, the society will be bound to have access to inappropriate website contents. Okay, so this explanation supports this point here. Protect underage internet users from inappropriate materials. As for the conclusion, the aim is to convince the reader that your essay has covered all the important arguments about the issue and that your main premise is the best position on the issue. So basically, in the conclusion, you just remind your reader that you have covered all the points that you want to discuss and you still stand with your point. So basically, it consists of a simple summary of the main argument and your thesis statement. Okay? Some arguments propose solutions or make predictions on the future of the topic. So basically, after you have done enough readings, you know about the topic, you can propose solutions or you can make prediction as your final remark. You can also show your reader what would happen or the implication if your argument is not or is believed or acted upon as you believe it should be. In the conclusion, most importantly, you should not present any new arguments in your conclusion. So let's look at this example. If we look at the first one that's in red, in conclusion, the government should not impose internet censorship as it is cost ineffective in the long run and is a violation of freedom of expression and privacy. So this is the writer's stance, plus the two main points, correct? And now it's continued by the counter-argument. Although proponents of internet censorship may argue that internet censorship by the government is necessary in order to protect underage internet users from accessing to inappropriate website contents. So this is the opposing stance with the third main point. Okay, so basically conclusion, you need to have your stand. There it's clearly stated together with the two main points and one opposing point. Okay, then your final remark. Rather than spending taxation revenue on the development of the censorship system, government should place the effort in providing online education to the society on how to use internet services with caution. After all, the best person to judge the appropriateness of website content is not the government but the internet users themselves. So this is the reader's suggestion. Alright, so remember, in the conclusion, you need to have your stand stated clearly together with the three main points plus one final remark. So that's all from me today. I hope you've learned how to write an argumentative essay because this will be very useful for assessment 1. So all the best in your assessment 1 and I hope to receive feedbacks from you. Thank you.